Sarah Chun pushed through the heavy steel door of the Tactical Operations Center, her laptop bag weighted with satellite imagery and intercepted communications that would save lives if anyone bothered to listen. The fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows across rows of tactical displays, while a dozen SEAL operators clustered around the central briefing table, their conversations dying as she approached. Commander Jackson glanced up from mission maps with barely concealed irritation, his weathered face showing the kind of impatience reserved for interruptions from intelligence personnel who had never felt enemy fire. She set her equipment on the metal table with deliberate precision, the sound cutting through the room's tension like a blade. Rodriguez, the team leader whose reputation for aggressive tactics preceded him into every briefing, leaned back in his chair with arms crossed, already dismissing whatever she might say. The other operators followed his lead, their body language shifting from focused attention to polite tolerance as Sarah connected her laptop to the room's display system. The first satellite image appeared on the main screen, showing terrain features around their planned insertion point with red markers indicating unusual activity patterns. Sarah's voice carried the weight of urgent certainty as she began explaining the intelligence that had kept her awake for 36 hours straight. Enemy communication intercepts suggested coordinated movement in sectors that should have been clear, while thermal imaging revealed positioning that matched textbook ambush preparations. Rodriguez interrupted before she could finish her first analysis point, his voice dripping with condescension reserved for analysts who had never cleared a building or felt the weight of combat gear. He dismissed her warnings as overcautious desk work from someone who spent too much time staring at computer screens and not enough time understanding how real operations functioned. The other SEALs murmured agreement, their confidence in ground-level intelligence trumping anything satellites or radio intercepts might suggest. Sarah's jaw tightened as she switched to the next display, showing communication patterns that had taken her team 18 hours to decrypt and analyze. The enemy radio traffic revealed coordination between units that typically operated independently, suggesting preparation for a significant engagement. Her fingers moved across the keyboard with practiced efficiency, overlaying movement patterns that painted a clear picture of impending disaster for anyone following the planned mission route. Jackson's attention drifted toward mission timelines and equipment checks, treating her briefing as a procedural requirement rather than critical intelligence. Sarah raised her voice slightly, emphasizing the probability calculations that supported her analysis, but the room's energy had already shifted toward mission preparation rather than tactical revision. The SEALs began discussing insertion timing and equipment loads, effectively ending her opportunity to present the complete intelligence picture. She tried a different approach, focusing on specific enemy positions that satellite imagery had identified near the landing zone. Her analysis showed enemy forces had moved into the area within the past 48 hours, abandoning their usual patrol routes in favor of defensive positions that overlooked the planned SEAL approach. The timing was too precise to be coincidental, suggesting either intelligence leaks or enemy anticipation of American special operations activity. Rodriguez stood and moved toward the equipment racks, signaling his complete dismissal of her warnings through body language that spoke louder than words. He called her analysis paranoid pattern-seeking by someone who saw threats in every shadow because she had never experienced the reality of combat operations. The other team members began preparing their gear, the sound of weapons being checked and magazines being loaded drowning out Sarah's continued attempts to present critical intelligence. The mission briefing resumed without incorporating any of her recommendations, Jackson proceeding with original insertion plans despite the clear evidence Sarah had presented. She watched helplessly as the team reviewed approaches that would take them directly through areas she had identified as compromised. Her laptop screen showed enemy positions that perfectly positioned for ambush, but the room's attention had moved beyond intelligence analysis toward operational execution. Sarah made one final attempt to delay the mission, her voice cutting through equipment preparation noise with statistics that should have stopped any rational commander. She cited a 73% probability of enemy contact based on current intelligence patterns, emphasizing that this calculation came from verified sources rather than theoretical analysis. Her reputation for accuracy in previous operations lent weight to the warning, but Jackson was already committed to the timeline that higher command had established. The briefing concluded with standard mission parameters unchanged, Sarah's intelligence relegated to background information rather than mission-critical guidance. She gathered her equipment while the SEALs continued their preparations, knowing that every prediction she had made would likely prove accurate within the next few hours. The weight of ignored intelligence sat heavily on her shoulders as she prepared to return to the analysis center, where she would monitor communications and hope her warnings had been wrong. Rodriguez paused near the door as his team filed out, his expression showing a mixture of professional courtesy and barely contained dismissal. He assured her that ground truth always trumped satellite analysis, that experienced operators could handle whatever the enemy might attempt. His confidence was absolute, built on years of successful missions that had reinforced his belief in boots-on-ground intelligence over analytical predictions. Sarah watched them leave, her laptop displaying enemy positions that would soon prove devastatingly accurate. The Tactical Operations Center emptied except for support personnel, leaving her alone with intelligence that could prevent disaster if anyone had been willing to listen. She began preparing monitoring protocols, knowing that within hours she would be proven right in the worst possible way. The helicopter rotors carved through pre-dawn darkness as SEAL Team 6 loaded their equipment into the aircraft that would carry them toward disaster. Rodriguez checked his weapon one final time while his teammates secured gear with the methodical precision of operators who had performed these procedures hundreds of times before. Commander Jackson reviewed insertion coordinates that matched exactly the compromised location Sarah had identified in her dismissed briefing, his confidence unwavering despite the intelligence warnings he had chosen to ignore. Sarah returned to the Intelligence Analysis Center, her footsteps echoing through corridors lined with servers that processed global communications traffic 24 hours a day. The room hummed with electronic activity as multiple workstations displayed real-time intercepts from the operational theater where SEAL Team 6 was heading. She settled at her primary console, pulling up monitoring protocols that would track enemy communications throughout the mission timeline, knowing that every prediction she had made would soon be tested under lethal circumstances. The aircraft lifted off according to schedule, carrying 12 elite operators toward an insertion point that enemy forces had been watching for the past 48 hours. Sarah's headset crackled with routine communications as the flight progressed, Mission Command maintaining standard protocols while she monitored frequencies that told a completely different story. Her screens showed communication patterns that painted an increasingly ominous picture of coordinated enemy preparation in the exact areas where the SEALs would soon be operating. Enemy radio chatter increased dramatically as the helicopters approached the operational zone, conversations in local dialect revealing movement orders that Sarah's linguistic analysis software translated in real time. The intercepts confirmed positioning changes that matched her earlier predictions with terrifying accuracy, enemy units abandoning routine patrols to establish overwatch positions along the planned SEAL approach routes. Her fingers moved rapidly across multiple keyboards, documenting evidence that would prove her analysis correct while hoping desperately that somehow her predictions would fail. She attempted to relay the new intelligence through official channels, her voice tense with urgency as she contacted Mission Command with updates that should have triggered immediate mission revision. The duty officer's response reflected standard protocol prioritizing operational security over intelligence updates, radio silence taking precedence over potentially mission-critical information. Sarah's frustration mounted as bureaucratic procedures prevented her from warning the team about enemy activity that was unfolding exactly as she had predicted. The helicopter insertion proceeded at the predetermined landing zone, SEAL Team 6 deploying into terrain that satellite imagery showed was under enemy observation from multiple concealed positions. Sarah watched thermal readings that revealed enemy forces positioned within direct line of sight of the insertion point, their discipline suggesting professional military training rather than irregular militia activity. Her analysis confirmed the worst-case scenario she had presented during the dismissed briefing: elite enemy units prepared for engagement with American Special Operations Forces. Mission Command maintained communication restrictions that blocked Sarah's attempts to provide real-time intelligence updates, treating her monitoring efforts as background analysis rather than tactical necessity. She documented every intercepted enemy transmission while watching helplessly as the SEAL team moved deeper into hostile territory without awareness of the coordinated opposition preparing to engage them. Her computer screens displayed a tactical situation that was deteriorating by the minute, enemy communications revealing preparation phases that matched textbook ambush protocols. Sarah detected specific radio transmissions discussing American Special Forces arrival times with precision that suggested either intelligence leaks or sophisticated surveillance capabilities. The enemy communications revealed knowledge of SEAL insertion timing and approach routes that should have been operationally secure, indicating compromise at levels that went far beyond her original analysis. She began cross-referencing communication patterns with known enemy unit identifications, building a picture of opposition that was far more dangerous than anyone had anticipated. The intelligence intercepts revealed enemy coordination between units that typically operated independently, suggesting a level of preparation that transformed routine operations into carefully planned engagements. Sarah's linguistic analysis identified senior commanders directing positioning through encrypted communications that her systems had managed to penetrate. The enemy was not simply reacting to American presence, but had been anticipating and preparing for special operations activity with professional competence that matched or exceeded friendly capabilities. Her attempts to escalate warnings through command channels met with procedural resistance that prioritized mission timeline over intelligence updates that could prevent catastrophe. The duty officer's responses reflected institutional bias toward operational momentum rather than analytical revision, treating Sarah's urgency as analyst overreaction rather than credible threat assessment. She documented every communication and analysis result, building an electronic record that would either vindicate her warnings or serve as evidence for post-mission investigation. Enemy forces completed positioning into locations that Sarah's original briefing had identified as primary ambush sites, their movements confirming tactical preparation that was days in the making. The intercepted communications revealed professional military planning rather than opportunistic engagement, suggesting that SEAL Team 6 was walking into a trap that had been specifically designed for American Special Operations Forces. Sarah's monitoring equipment captured the final enemy preparations as hostile forces achieved optimal positioning for engagement with the approaching SEAL team. She watched real-time intelligence feeds that showed the tactical situation developing exactly as her dismissed analysis had predicted, enemy positions and timing matching her calculations with mathematical precision. The SEAL team advanced through terrain that was under complete enemy observation, their approach monitored by hostile forces who were waiting for optimal engagement conditions. Sarah's screens displayed the convergence of friendly and enemy forces that would soon result in the contact she had tried desperately to prevent. The mission timeline approached the critical phase where enemy engagement was most likely, Sarah's predictions reaching the moment of validation that she had hoped would never come. Her intelligence monitoring revealed that SEAL Team 6 was walking directly into the most sophisticated ambush preparation she had ever observed, enemy forces demonstrating tactical competence that suggested professional military training and extensive operational planning. The next few minutes would prove whether her analysis was accurate or whether the SEAL's confidence in ground-level intelligence would be vindicated through successful mission completion. Rodriguez's voice crackled through encrypted communications as SEAL Team 6 reported their first anomaly, enemy patrol schedules that deviated from established patterns in ways that matched Sarah's dismissed intelligence exactly. The team had been observing routine enemy movement for 30 minutes when hostile forces began shifting their timing by precisely the intervals Sarah had calculated during her briefing. Rodriguez noted the unusual activity with growing unease, his field experience recognizing tactical behavior that suggested enemy awareness of American presence. Sarah's intercept equipment captured enemy transmissions that confirmed every coordinate she had marked as compromised during the briefing that no one had taken seriously. The hostile communications revealed positioning orders that placed enemy forces at the exact ambush locations her analysis had identified, their deployment following tactical doctrine that her behavioral pattern recognition had predicted. She immediately began documenting the intercepts while preparing to escalate warnings through command channels that had already proven resistant to intelligence updates. Her call to Colonel Martinez met with institutional dismissal that reflected command bias toward operational momentum rather than analytical revision of mission parameters. Martinez treated her urgency as mission interference from an analyst who lacked understanding of operational realities. His response emphasizing the importance of maintaining mission timeline over intelligence concerns that could disrupt carefully coordinated activities. Sarah's attempts to explain the tactical significance of her intercepts were cut short by procedural requirements that prioritized radio discipline over potentially life-saving intelligence updates. The radio frequencies buzzed with enemy communications discussing American Special Forces arrival with timing precision that revealed sophisticated intelligence gathering capabilities or operational security breaches. Sarah's linguistic analysis software translated conversations that referenced specific insertion coordinates and movement timelines that should have been classified at the highest levels. The enemy possessed detailed knowledge of SEAL Team 6 operations that transformed routine mission parameters into carefully orchestrated trap conditions. Rodriguez reported enemy positions that matched Sarah's earlier intelligence predictions with mathematical accuracy, his field observations confirming tactical deployments that her satellite analysis had identified as primary threat indicators. The SEAL team leader described hostile positioning that followed the exact pattern Sarah had presented during the briefing, enemy forces occupying overwatch positions that provided optimal fields of fire for ambush operations. His growing concern reflected recognition that ground truth was aligning with analytical predictions in ways that suggested deliberate enemy preparation. Mission Command maintained radio silence protocols that blocked Sarah's attempts to relay critical intelligence updates that could prevent tactical disaster for the deployed SEAL team. The communication restrictions reflected operational security procedures that prioritized electronic concealment over information sharing that could save lives. Sarah found herself trapped between intelligence that demanded immediate action and command structures that treated analytical updates as operational interference rather than mission-critical guidance. Enemy radio traffic increased dramatically as hostile forces moved into final positioning for engagement with the approaching SEAL team, their communications revealing coordination that Sarah's original briefing had identified as the primary threat indicator. The intercepts confirmed enemy unit movements that followed professional military planning rather than reactive positioning, suggesting that SEAL Team 6 was advancing into a trap that had been prepared specifically for American Special Operations Forces. Sarah's analysis revealed hostile tactical competence that exceeded the threat estimates that mission planning had incorporated. She discovered communication frequencies that enemy forces were using to coordinate positioning with reference to American Special Forces arrival timing that demonstrated intelligence capabilities far beyond what mission planners had anticipated. The hostile transmissions revealed knowledge of SEAL insertion schedules and approach routes that suggested either sophisticated surveillance or operational security compromises at levels that threatened the entire mission structure. Sarah's intercept analysis painted a picture of enemy preparation that was days in the making rather than opportunistic response to detected American activity. Colonel Martinez dismissed her escalated warnings as analytical overreaction from an intelligence officer who had never experienced the stress of operational decision-making under combat conditions. His response reflected institutional bias that treated field commanders' tactical judgment as superior to analytical products regardless of accuracy or relevance to immediate operational conditions. Sarah's attempts to convey the tactical significance of her intercepts met with procedural resistance that prioritized command authority over intelligence that could prevent mission failure. Enemy forces completed their movement into ambush positions that Sarah had specifically identified during the dismissed briefing, their tactical deployment following the exact patterns her behavioral analysis had predicted. The hostile positioning revealed professional military competence that transformed routine enemy contact into coordinated engagement designed to maximize casualties among American Special Operations Forces. Sarah watched real-time intelligence feeds that confirmed her worst-case scenario predictions while being unable to warn the SEAL team about the trap they were approaching. The intercepted enemy communications revealed final preparation phases that matched textbook ambush protocols, hostile forces achieving optimal positioning for engagement with the SEAL team that was advancing through terrain under complete enemy observation. Sarah's linguistic analysis identified senior enemy commanders directing final positioning adjustments through encrypted communications that demonstrated tactical sophistication far beyond militia capabilities. The enemy was prepared for engagement with American Special Operations Forces at a level that suggested extensive planning and professional military training. Rodriguez's field reports described enemy activity that aligned perfectly with Sarah's analytical predictions, the SEAL team leader documenting hostile behavior that confirmed every threat assessment she had presented during the briefing. His observations revealed enemy tactical competence that exceeded mission planning assumptions, suggesting that SEAL Team 6 was facing opposition that was far more dangerous than anyone had anticipated. The convergence of field observations with analytical predictions created a tactical situation that was deteriorating rapidly toward the disaster Sarah had tried to prevent. Her monitoring equipment captured enemy transmissions that revealed the final stages of ambush preparation, hostile forces achieving tactical positioning that would soon prove devastatingly effective against the approaching SEAL team. Sarah documented every intercept, while knowing that procedural restrictions prevented her from providing the warnings that could still prevent catastrophe. The intelligence picture she had painted during the dismissed briefing was becoming reality with terrifying precision, enemy preparation reaching completion just as SEAL Team 6 approached the kill zone she had identified. The first muzzle flash erupted from the ridgeline exactly where Sarah's intelligence had marked primary ambush positions. Enemy fire cutting through morning air with devastating precision as SEAL Team 6 walked directly into the kill zone she had identified. Rodriguez dropped behind inadequate cover while automatic weapons opened up from concealed positions that satellite imagery had revealed during the dismissed briefing. The coordinated enemy fire demonstrated tactical discipline that transformed routine patrol contact into professionally executed ambush designed specifically for American Special Operations Forces. Enemy positions revealed themselves through muzzle signatures that matched every location Sarah's analysis had flagged as primary threat indicators. Hostile forces emerging from concealment with timing that spoke of extensive preparation rather than opportunistic engagement. The ambush unfolded with mathematical precision that confirmed Sarah's behavioral pattern predictions, enemy fire sectors interlocking to create devastating coverage of the terrain where SEAL Team 6 had been forced to take cover. Rodriguez's tactical experience recognized immediately that his team faced opposition that had been waiting for them with professional military competence. Machine gun fire raked the position from elevated angles that provided enemy forces with commanding fields of fire over the low ground where the SEALs found themselves pinned. The hostile positioning followed textbook ambush doctrine that Sarah's briefing had specifically warned about, enemy forces occupying high ground that offered tactical advantages while denying friendly forces any opportunity for effective counterattack. Rodriguez realized with growing horror that every aspect of the enemy deployment matched the intelligence analysis that his team had dismissed as overcautious desk work. Sarah's monitoring equipment captured desperate radio transmissions as SEAL Team 6 reported contact with superior enemy forces in positions that her intelligence had specifically identified as compromised. The team's communications revealed tactical surprise at facing coordinated opposition that was prepared for engagement with American Special Operations Forces rather than routine patrol activity. Her analysis center received real-time confirmation that every prediction she had made was proving accurate under the worst possible circumstances. The enemy fire intensified from positions that offered complete tactical domination over the terrain where SEAL Team 6 had sought cover, hostile forces demonstrating planning and preparation that exceeded all threat estimates incorporated into mission parameters. Rodriguez attempted to maneuver his team toward better positions, but found every avenue of approach covered by enemy weapons that had been positioned specifically to prevent escape from the kill zone. The ambush revealed professional military competence that transformed what should have been routine operation into life-threatening tactical disaster. Commander Jackson's voice cut through radio static as he called for immediate extraction, while enemy fire forced his team deeper into defensive positions that offered minimal protection from coordinated assault. The extraction request confirmed Sarah's worst-case scenario predictions. SEAL Team 6 trapped in terrain that her analysis had identified as tactically untenable for friendly forces. Jackson's tactical assessment recognized that his team faced enemy preparation that was days in the making rather than reactive response to detected American presence. Sniper fire joined the coordinated assault from concealed positions that Sarah's intelligence had specifically identified as primary overwatch sites. Enemy marksmen engaging individual SEAL operators with precision that spoke of professional training and extensive preparation. The hostile sniper positions offered commanding views of the entire engagement area while providing concealment that made counter-sniper operations nearly impossible. Rodriguez counted muzzle flashes from locations that matched Sarah's briefing materials with terrifying accuracy. Sarah monitored communications that revealed the complete validation of every warning she had provided during the dismissed briefing, SEAL Team 6 reporting enemy tactics and positioning that aligned perfectly with her analytical predictions. The radio transmissions confirmed that her behavioral pattern analysis had been accurate in every detail. Enemy forces demonstrating the exact tactical competence that her intelligence assessment had identified as the primary threat. Her vindication came at the cost of American lives that proper planning could have preserved. Enemy mortar rounds began impacting around the SEAL positions with targeting precision that suggested professional indirect fire capabilities far beyond militia standards. The hostile fire adjustment following doctrine that Sarah's analysis had identified as indicative of regular military training. The mortar fire forced SEAL Team 6 into even more constrained positions while enemy direct fire maintained pressure that prevented any opportunity for tactical maneuver. Rodriguez realized that his team faced opposition that had been specifically prepared for engagement with American Special Operations Forces. The coordinated enemy assault demonstrated tactical sophistication that exceeded all threat estimates that mission planning had incorporated, hostile forces executing complex fire and movement that required extensive training and preparation. Sarah's intercept equipment captured enemy communications, directing fire adjustment and tactical positioning that revealed command structure competence matching professional military standards. The ambush unfolded according to enemy planning that had anticipated American special operations methods with devastating accuracy. Jackson coordinated defensive fire while calling for emergency close air support that could break enemy contact and enable extraction from the tactical disaster that Sarah's intelligence had predicted. His requests for immediate air support specified enemy positions that matched the coordinates Sarah had provided during her dismissed briefing, hostile locations that her analysis had identified as primary threat indicators. The SEAL commander's tactical assessment confirmed that his team faced prepared opposition rather than opportunistic contact. Enemy forces maintained coordinated fire that prevented SEAL Team 6 from gaining any tactical advantage while denying opportunities for maneuver that could improve their defensive position. The hostile tactics followed professional military doctrine that Sarah's behavioral analysis had predicted based on communication intercepts and movement patterns that her team had observed during the planning phase. Rodriguez attempted to establish fields of fire, but found enemy positioning negated every tactical option that standard operating procedures provided. Sarah documented radio communications that revealed the complete accuracy of her dismissed intelligence analysis. SEAL Team 6 reporting contact with enemy forces in positions and strength that matched her predictions exactly. The validation of her analytical work came through reports of American casualties that proper intelligence integration could have prevented. Her monitoring station received confirmation that every aspect of the tactical situation was developing according to the enemy plan that her intelligence had identified during the briefing that no one had taken seriously. The enemy ambush reached maximum intensity as hostile forces demonstrated tactical coordination that confirmed Sarah's assessment of professional military capabilities rather than irregular militia activity. SEAL Team 6 found themselves pinned down by superior numbers in terrain that offered minimal tactical advantages while facing opposition that had been specifically prepared for engagement with American Special Operations Forces. The tactical situation that Sarah had warned about during the dismissed briefing was now reality, with American lives hanging in the balance of decisions that could have been different if anyone had listened to intelligence that proved devastatingly accurate. Commander Jackson's voice cut through enemy fire as he made the decision that would save his team, authorizing immediate radio contact with Intelligence Division despite operational security protocols that had maintained communication restrictions throughout the mission. His call for direct intelligence support represented complete reversal of the dismissive attitude that had characterized the pre-mission briefing, where Sarah's warnings had been ignored. The desperate radio transmission reached the analysis center where Sarah had been monitoring the tactical disaster that her predictions had anticipated with devastating accuracy. Rodriguez swallowed years of professional pride as he specifically requested Sarah Chun for emergency intelligence support, his voice tight with recognition that analytical expertise might be the only thing standing between his team and complete tactical annihilation. The same team leader who had dismissed her warnings as overcautious desk work now pleaded for the intelligence guidance that could navigate them through hostile territory where every enemy position matched her original briefing materials. His request represented acknowledgement that ground truth had aligned with analytical predictions in ways that demanded immediate professional cooperation. Sarah's fingers moved across multiple keyboards with practiced urgency as she began real-time analysis of enemy movement patterns that could identify escape routes through hostile territory where SEAL Team 6 found themselves trapped. Her workstation displayed satellite feeds and communication intercepts that painted a complete picture of enemy positioning around the ambush site, tactical information that transformed from dismissed intelligence into life-saving guidance. The analysis that had been rejected during mission planning now became the foundation for extraction operations that would determine whether American Special Operations personnel survived professional enemy preparation. She provided detailed enemy positioning based on intercepted communications that revealed hostile patrol schedules and weapon placement with precision that allowed tactical planning for movement through territory under complete enemy observation. Her linguistic analysis software translated real-time enemy transmissions that discussed American Special Operations positions and movement, intelligence that Sarah converted into tactical guidance for avoiding contact during extraction attempts. The communication intercepts that had been dismissed as analytical overreaction now provided mission-critical information for survival in hostile territory. Sarah's behavioral pattern analysis identified a narrow window for extraction by predicting enemy patrol rotation timing that would create temporary gaps in hostile observation coverage. Her calculations revealed that enemy forces followed tactical discipline that created predictable intervals when movement would be possible without detection, intelligence that transformed mathematical predictions into operational opportunities. The same analytical methodology that had been rejected during mission planning now provided the tactical timing that could enable successful extraction from the ambush zone. Rodriguez acknowledged receipt of her intelligence guidance with professional respect that represented complete reversal from his earlier dismissal of analytical products as irrelevant to field operations. The SEAL team leader began implementing her recommendations for movement through terrain that her analysis identified as offering concealment from enemy observation posts. His tactical decisions now incorporated intelligence assessments that he had previously rejected, field experience recognizing that survival depended on analytical expertise that predicted enemy behavior with mathematical precision. The team followed her guidance through hostile territory for the first time since mission inception. Their movement coordinated with Sarah's real-time analysis of enemy communication patterns that revealed hostile positioning and patrol timing. SEAL Team 6 advanced through routes that her intelligence identified as offering the highest probability of avoiding contact with superior enemy forces. Their tactical movement represented acknowledgement that analytical predictions provided survival advantages that field experience alone could not deliver under current circumstances. Sarah coordinated directly with close air support assets, providing enemy anti-aircraft positions that her analysis had identified through communication intercepts and satellite imagery that revealed hostile surface-to-air capabilities. Her intelligence guidance enabled air support operations that could suppress enemy fire while providing cover for SEAL Team 6 extraction from terrain that offered minimal tactical advantages. The same analytical products that had been dismissed during mission planning now enabled close air support coordination that could save American lives. Her real-time intelligence updates revealed enemy movement patterns that allowed tactical planning for extraction routes through hostile territory, where enemy forces maintained observation and fire coverage. Sarah's analysis identified specific timing windows when enemy patrol rotations would create opportunities for movement toward extraction zones that offered safety from continuing hostile engagement. The intelligence guidance flowed continuously to Rodriguez, whose tactical decisions now incorporated analytical assessments that he had previously rejected as irrelevant to operational reality. Enemy communications intercepted by Sarah's monitoring equipment revealed hostile tactical adjustments that she translated into movement recommendations for SEAL Team 6 navigation through territory under complete enemy control. Her linguistic analysis identified enemy coordination that could be exploited through timing and route selection that avoided areas of concentrated hostile activity. The intercepted communications that had been dismissed as analytical over-concern now provided tactical intelligence that enabled survival in hostile territory where enemy preparation exceeded all mission planning estimates. Rodriguez reported successful movement through terrain that Sarah's intelligence had identified as offering concealment from enemy observation, his field experience now recognizing analytical value that he had dismissed during the pre-mission briefing. The SEAL team's progress toward extraction zones validated Sarah's behavioral pattern analysis, while demonstrating that mathematical predictions could translate into tactical advantages under combat conditions. His communications reflected professional appreciation for intelligence support that was proving mission-critical for team survival. Sarah's coordination with extraction aircraft incorporated her analysis of enemy anti-aircraft capabilities that posed threats to helicopter operations in the tactical area where SEAL Team 6 required evacuation. Her intelligence guidance enabled flight planning that avoided areas where hostile surface-to-air weapons could engage extraction aircraft while identifying approach routes that minimized exposure to enemy fire. The same analytical methodology that had been rejected during mission planning now enabled air operations that could successfully extract American Special Operations personnel from hostile territory. The tactical situation evolved according to Sarah's real-time intelligence guidance, as SEAL Team 6 moved toward extraction zones through routes that avoided enemy patrol areas identified through communication intercepts and satellite analysis. Her behavioral pattern predictions enabled movement timing that exploited gaps in hostile observation coverage while avoiding areas where enemy forces maintained weapons positions. The intelligence support that had been dismissed as mission interference now provided the tactical guidance that enabled survival and extraction from professional enemy preparation. Jackson confirmed team movement toward extraction coordinates that Sarah's analysis identified as offering safety from continuing enemy engagement, his tactical assessment acknowledging that intelligence expertise had proven essential for survival under combat conditions that exceeded mission planning assumptions. The commander's recognition of analytical value represented complete reversal from institutional bias that had characterized the pre-mission briefing where Sarah's warnings had been dismissed. Her intelligence guidance had transformed from rejected analysis into mission-critical support that enabled successful extraction from tactical disaster that her predictions had anticipated with devastating accuracy. The extraction helicopters lifted SEAL Team 6 from hostile territory exactly 6 hours after Sarah's intelligence warnings had been dismissed, their successful evacuation owing entirely to her real-time analytical guidance that had navigated them through enemy positions with mathematical precision. Rodriguez confirmed all personnel accounted for as the aircraft climbed away from terrain where professional enemy preparation had nearly destroyed the entire team. The same intelligence expertise that had been rejected during mission planning had proven essential for survival under combat conditions that validated every prediction Sarah had made. Sarah monitored the extraction communications from her analysis center, professional satisfaction mixing with exhaustion after 18 hours of continuous intelligence support that had transformed from dismissed warnings into life-saving guidance. Her workstation displayed the tactical picture that had unfolded exactly as her behavioral pattern analysis had predicted, enemy positioning and coordination matching her assessments with precision that demonstrated analytical methodology at its highest level. The vindication of her intelligence work came through successful extraction of American Special Operations personnel who might otherwise have been casualties of institutional bias against analytical products. The post-mission debrief convened immediately upon SEAL Team 6's return, Rodriguez presenting field observations that confirmed every aspect of Sarah's original intelligence assessment with devastating accuracy. His after-action report documented enemy positioning that matched her satellite analysis exactly, hostile tactics that followed the patterns her behavioral predictions had identified, and coordination that reflected the professional military competence her communication intercepts had revealed. The same intelligence analysis that had been dismissed as overcautious desk work now formed the foundation of mission analysis that would reshape operational planning procedures. Commander Jackson reviewed tactical footage that showed enemy positions corresponding precisely to coordinates Sarah had marked during the dismissed briefing, the visual evidence providing undeniable confirmation of analytical accuracy under combat conditions. His assessment acknowledged that intelligence integration failures had nearly resulted in complete mission catastrophe, with successful extraction owing entirely to real-time analytical support that had been initially rejected. The commander's professional integrity demanded recognition that institutional bias had created tactical vulnerabilities that analytical expertise could have prevented. 6 hours after rejecting her intelligence warnings, Jackson placed a personal call to Sarah's direct line, his voice carrying professional humility that acknowledged how completely her predictions had proven accurate under the worst possible circumstances. The same commander who had dismissed her briefing as mission interference now sought understanding of analytical methodology that had demonstrated capabilities exceeding field intelligence in both accuracy and tactical relevance. His question carried weight beyond personal curiosity, representing institutional recognition that analytical expertise deserved integration into operational planning at fundamental levels. Sarah explained her methodology with professional precision, describing how satellite imagery analysis combined with communication intercepts and behavioral pattern recognition to create predictive models that anticipated enemy actions with mathematical accuracy. Her explanation emphasized that analytical success came through systematic evaluation of multiple intelligence sources rather than intuitive assessment, mathematical models providing tactical predictions that field experience alone could not deliver. The same methodology that had been dismissed as theoretical analysis now received recognition as essential capability for special operations planning. Her behavioral pattern analysis had identified enemy tactical competence through communication patterns that revealed professional military training rather than militia capabilities, intelligence that transformed threat assessment from routine contact to coordinated ambush preparation. The satellite imagery had confirmed enemy positioning that followed textbook ambush doctrine, while intercepted communications had revealed coordination timing that enabled precise predictions of hostile tactical deployment. Sarah's explanation demonstrated analytical rigor that converted raw intelligence into tactical guidance with precision that saved American lives. Rodriguez requested formal meeting to discuss his team's intelligence support requirements, his professional assessment acknowledging that analytical expertise should be integral to special operations planning rather than peripheral consultation that could be dismissed. The same team leader who had rejected her warnings as paranoid pattern-seeking now sought permanent analytical partnership that could prevent tactical disasters through intelligence integration at mission planning levels. His recognition represented institutional acknowledgement that analytical products provided tactical advantages that field experience required for success under modern combat conditions. Colonel Martinez contacted Sarah personally to reverse his earlier dismissal of her intelligence warnings, his professional integrity demanding acknowledgement that institutional bias had nearly resulted in American casualties that analytical expertise could have prevented. His conversation expressed formal appreciation for intelligence support that had proven mission-critical under combat conditions while acknowledging command failures that had initially rejected analytical guidance. The same colonel who had dismissed her concerns as mission interference now praised intelligence work that had demonstrated capabilities essential for special operations success. The formal commendation process began within hours of mission completion, documentation highlighting Sarah's persistent intelligence advocacy that had prevented potential loss of entire SEAL team through analytical expertise that predicted enemy preparation with mathematical precision. Her recognition emphasized analytical methodology that transformed raw intelligence into tactical guidance while acknowledging institutional resistance that had initially prevented intelligence integration into operational planning. The commendation represented acknowledgement that analytical expertise deserved recognition equivalent to field operations for contributions to mission success and personnel safety. Sarah's workstation displayed final intelligence summaries that documented complete validation of her predictive analysis, enemy behavior having followed her mathematical models with precision that demonstrated analytical methodology at professional levels that exceeded institutional expectations. Her behavioral pattern recognition had anticipated hostile tactics that field intelligence had missed, while satellite analysis had identified tactical positioning that ground truth had failed to detect. The intelligence products that had been dismissed as theoretical analysis now stood as evidence of analytical capabilities that transformed operational planning requirements. The Intelligence Division received formal requests from multiple Special Operations Commands for analytical support similar to Sarah's demonstrated capabilities. Institutional recognition spreading throughout Special Operations community that analytical expertise provided tactical advantages essential for mission success under modern combat conditions. Her methodology became foundation for intelligence integration procedures that would prevent tactical disasters through systematic evaluation of multiple intelligence sources rather than reliance on field assessment alone. The dismissal of analytical products as mission interference was replaced by recognition that mathematical predictions provided survival advantages in hostile territory. Rodriguez's formal apology acknowledged professional misjudgment that had nearly resulted in mission catastrophe, his field experience now recognizing analytical value that he had initially dismissed through institutional bias against intelligence products that challenged operational assumptions. His request for permanent analytical liaison represented acknowledgement that special operations success required integration of multiple intelligence capabilities rather than reliance on ground truth alone. The same team leader who had dismissed Sarah's warnings now sought analytical partnership that could prevent tactical disasters through intelligence expertise that predicted enemy behavior with mathematical precision. The institutional changes that followed Sarah's vindication transformed special operations intelligence procedures from peripheral consultation to integral planning partnership. Analytical expertise receiving recognition as mission-critical capability that provided tactical advantages essential for personnel safety under combat conditions. Her successful prediction of enemy preparation demonstrated analytical methodology that exceeded field intelligence capabilities while providing tactical guidance that enabled survival in hostile territory. The intelligence analysis that had been dismissed during mission planning now formed foundation for operational procedures that would integrate analytical expertise into special operations planning at fundamental levels that prevented tactical disasters through mathematical prediction of enemy behavior.